Thursday, a picture of me came out in the news press of me playing an accordion down at the farmer's market. I was in the right place at the right time. And here's a large blown-up of it. And I just love this picture because the costume I'm wearing has been 100% made by me. And I have fully grown into my character, Squeezy the Clown. I own my character. It's taken me 6 years of going to clown school to really come to that feeling that I really have come into my character. Now, on the same day that this picture came out in the paper, I received some horrible news from one of my doctors that a sarcoma cancer I was diagnosed with last January has metastasized to my lungs. Pretty lousy news. And this evening I'm going to talk about the bright side, the light side of a diagnosis like this. Now the project I'm working on this evening is called The Entertaining Speech. And for topics it suggested picking a common experience the audience is familiar with. Now this evening I'm going to talk about death. It is a common experience, but most of us have a minimum amount of familiarity with the nuts and bolts of death. I want to tell you why it is not a sad thing. When I heard the news that my sarcoma, which is a very rare cancer, there are only 13,000 cases of sarcoma in the United States annually, and this is out of a country of 324 million people. Because it's so rare, there's a paucity of information about it, which means there's just hardly anything to understand, which made it all the more frightening. Now, as you can see, I'm not in shock and I'm not being emotional. It's because I went through all that last winter. And I believe that I have gotten all that shock and fear and anger out of my system. I have completely processed it so that I am about as calm as a cucumber you can be. Now, I want to tell you why there's a bright side to all this. I am at the top of my game right now. And that is a very nice way to die, being at the top of your game. It's a lot better than being at the bottom of your game. And there have been periods in my life when I was at the bottom of my game. But I'm not there now. Life is a train. This is the way I look at it. When you're born, you get on the train, and you ride along on the train. And then when you die, you get off the train, but the train keeps going. The train was going before we arrived, and the train will keep going after we're gone. I look at it as such a very natural process. Now, part of the advantages of being terminally ill, if you want to put it that way, is that I also get to die while I'm relatively young and kind of cute, which appeals to the narcissistic part of my personality. Now, another thing that nobody has probably ever thought about is that when you are terminally ill and people know that you have a limited amount of time, they treat you with a special kind of reverence. It's an unspoken reverence that is similar to the way that we treated Mercedes when she was pregnant. Because a woman is carrying life. I used to have a veterinarian, he was my favorite when I was breeding pugs, and he said that pregnant women and animals are the happiest creatures on earth because they are looking forward to something. I believe that the Spanish verb embarazado, to be pregnant is embarazado, which implies waiting. So a person who is terminally ill is also waiting, but it's the flip side of birth. And it's just as common as birth. We just don't have much experience with it. Now, another plus of my leaving soon would be that I don't have to see Donald Trump start World War III. That would really make me happy. Another thing that I was thinking when I got the idea to write this speech, you know, I have not shed a tear. I have not cried once since I got this new bad news a week and a half ago. I got close to crying, but they were tears of joy because I realized that I am so proud of the legacy that I am leaving, about all the things I've done in my life, all the people I've engaged with. I feel so good about what I have to show. And a lot of you have not known me long enough, but I have rather tattered marital history. I have had every marital status, single, married, divorced, widowed. And in between those coming and going, when I would find myself suddenly single, the most favorite thing I love to spend money on is my house. So after I would become suddenly single, I would bash out walls. I bashed out horizontal walls, vertical walls, took out an 8-foot ceiling in my kitchen, hallway, and entryway, took out a vertical, I mean, just went crazy. And my house has my signature all over it. I bought it in 1984. But right now it is a home that is so enjoyed by many people. And I get to share all of this work that I did with travelers from all over the world with my Airbnb business. And I also get to, I have a music group that comes over, but I'm just thinking about how happy I was that everything I have done has been shared and there's memories that people will have of being in my house with me. And that's all going to live on. And it is, I can't tell you how good it feels to feel like that. Now, I do not want to die with any unresolved resentments or anger. And when I was talking about my house, I have a horrible resentment against the city of Santa Barbara because they took away my business license to be able to share this room with travelers. But this is not a time to be angry or resentful to anyone. This is a time for acceptance and resignation because that's just the way life is. It reminds me of a speech that Eve gave. It's just the way life is. It's a global situation. It's just part of being human. And I like to think of my life as being an ice cream sundae. I think of, in culinary terms, you could compare a life to a complicated stew, but I prefer an ice cream sundae because you can see the ingredients, even though a lot will be hidden. Now, my ice cream sundae of my life has jalapeno peppers stuck into the side that might, be a little bit awful tasting. But right now, I'm at the cherry. I'm polishing the cherry of my life. I'm just putting the real tippy top on my legacy. And people are going to remember me the best I've ever been. And I wanted to just say how much I appreciate organizations like Toastmasters because this is a time when all of the good karma, and by that I mean all the love that I've shared with people I've known, which basically is just a matter of caring about people. You can tell when people care about you by the way they look at you. And all of that love that I have shared with people is all going to come back to me when I need it. And being involved in social organizations like this really does help us establish a network of friendship. And when it is your time to get awful news, you will be amazed at how much support you're going to get from friends and family. And I would just like to end by saying that this is not a sad thing. For every laugh, there has to be a tear. The famous Walt Disney. And it reminds me also of a speech that Ava gave once about our legacy. If you live a good life where you care about people, all of that caring that you've given out is all going to come back. And now I'm waiting for illness, hospice, and death, but I don't really look at it that way. I have a little bit of good news because this morning I made an appointment and I will be going to UCLA to the sarcoma clinic, and I am a candidate for immunotherapy because they have a big piece of tumor that they took out in February to work with. So I don't know what's down the pike, but live it up while you're here.